Winnipeg is back in the big leagues and over the moon.
Welcome to the Landing Strip with Nick Lynham and Mikey Garcia, presented by From Financial.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Welcome back to the Landing Strip, presented by From Financial. And where do we begin? I'm trying real hard to put a brave face on here as we begin this episode tonight. And it's hard. It's hard. That was a tough one to watch. The Winnipeg Jets get owned in every way again in St. Louis. Their franchise player, my GOAT, is no longer my GOAT. Mikey, I'm going to need to bring you in here. How you doing today?
So I'm channeling my inner Paul Maurice today. Or not Paul Maurice, sorry. God, I'm starting the show just as well as the fucking Jets game. My inner Claude Noel today, and say that the beatings will continue until morale improves. Holy God, man. This, you know what, if they're wanting us to really work for our fandom, if they're wanting us to, really show that we care with some pain, they're giving it to us full force here. This is, it's one thing to lose the game. It's one thing to lose on the road. It's another thing to get absolutely blown out 3 straight games in St. Louis. So yeah, there's no joy in Joyville to continue my Claude run tonight.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the chat right away here as I try and get my thoughts straight. Hulk started this off over on Twitch before going over to YouTube with just a lengthy fuck. And probably sums it up best in one word.
Yep.
Choices TK says, Jets team is like a train on the tracks. Everything going to plan, all is good. First sign of problems, it's a derailment, destruction, carnage, and catastrophe. Range of outcomes next game, Jets win to complete Armageddon. Your guess is as good as mine. I have no clue. And honestly, Choices eloquently puts where I'm at. Puts where I'm at leaving this one. Like, on one hand, and I'm going to need, who was our boy the other day? Ricky. I'm going to need a call from Ricky at some point today because he really got the vibes going there last time we had to do this. But going into Sunday, like, I think of the difference, and I was watching with a couple buddies before coming onto the show here, and just the wide gap in the Jets' performance on the road versus at home, I don't know what to expect on Sunday. They've won all 3 games at home, but you just saw what happened in the second period, and like that could come up with this team at any moment. And the guy that's routinely bailed them out in regular seasons year after year to even get them to this point drops the ball again. That Braden Shen goal, Elliot Friedman nailed it at the intermission. That Braden Shen goal was game over.
Yep.
This game, we could have all packed her up. We could have done a show while the game was going on, and we would have known the result already. We could have all gotten on with our Friday nights, turned it off. As soon as he lets that goal, and it can't happen.
No, it can't.
This is supposed to be the best goalie in the world.
Yep.
First one, made me look like a jackass today, man. Went out on a limb. Called this the Hellebuck game. He was going to slay the demons tonight. I'm the biggest moron out there. It bothered me too because I was getting texts and DMs after the first one. I don't know how anyone could blame that one on Hellebuck interference on Sandberg. Second one's frustrating because Dylan Delmello completely overshoots his guy. Nino Niederreiter's standing right next to the post for an easy goal. No one's covering him. And then that third goal, it's a 1-goal hockey game. The team was struggling to generate anything, and you let that in. He's been pulled all 3 games in St. Louis.
Yep.
They're chanting that they want him, and they're 100% right now. And that's the franchise player. We're hooped.
That's the toughest part.
No.
That's the toughest part, right? This is the only reason we're here, had a President's Trophy, in the position to have Game 7 at home, is because of Connor Hellebuck, but also the only reason we're having to play a Game 7 right now a little bit in some of these games, especially all three getting pulled in St. Louis. Like, it's, yeah, you can make individual cases for almost each individual goal, but at a certain point, if he's going to be, the Hart winner, if he's going to be the Vezina winner, if he's going to be the GOAT, then sometimes you've got to make the saves that you're not expected to make. Sometimes you have to make the saves that nobody sees coming. And he's had a couple of those paddle saves, right, that have just been unreal, have saved goals, no question. It just, two things can be true at the same time. The Jets absolutely imploded on the ice in front of Connor Hellebuck, and Connor Hellebuck hasn't been good enough. And when both things are happening to you at the same time, you get games that look like these three in St. Louis, which is just an absolute embarrassment of a game, especially like was pointed out. I'm sorry who it was. The chat's gone too quick. But this was the only fucking game on TV tonight. You embarrassed yourself in front of the entire hockey world watching you. Absolute joke. Just, yeah, terrible. Absolutely terrible.
I'm where Glazzy Water Soup is, and I know a couple of the group chats I'm in the same thing. Glazzy Water Soup says, I'll eat the band, screw this team. This was fun for a year, but I'm out on cheering from them anymore. Best of luck on this endeavor, Nick, which I appreciate. But it's like, if they lose on Sunday, and we haven't gone there yet, how could we possibly ever believe in the score again?
God, they can't. They can't. They have to win that Game 7. It's the potential of having to face what's going to go on when they trot this exact same group out next year, minus a couple of the biggest pieces, is going to be real painful if they go out in Game 7 at home.
I'm going to dive through some of the YouTube chat here. We're going to open those phone lines right away, as I've been getting texts and DMs since the second period. So we'll get that going. I appreciate all your interest.
Give us 1 minute, guys.
Matt Rothman says, another total capitulation by this whole team. Pathetic showing.
Yep.
Can't disagree. Kyle Korsveld says, man, what the fuck happened late in the second? Why can't we play on the road? And the first period itself was pretty damn sloppy. Then Morgan Barron puts the team on his back with one of those moments right at the beginning of the second. And Mason Appleton couldn't be bothered to even try and get back onside. Cole Perfetti gets his first on the power play. A nice goal, something I'd love to be talking more about today. And it just goes the other way. They're in this game, and then they let up 4 goals in, 5 minutes, 6 minutes?
Yep. 5 minutes, 23 seconds.
And the first couple, not on him. The next few, you got to make a fucking save. You got to
make a save.
You have to make a fucking hockey save here.
Yep.
Dante Violet says, fun fact, Hellebuck needs to make 100 consecutive saves just to reach a 900 save percentage for this playoffs.
Yeah.
Stressful says, I'm so angry. I'm calm. I'm worried. Like worried for my health. John Chan says, well, that was a disaster of a game for this veteran squad. This team is so fragile and soft. And that's probably the best way to sum it up. And they've been fragile and soft at this time of year for multiple years now.
They've been fragile, they've been soft, and they've been just mismanaged. This is just absolutely no excuse to be trotting out the exact same lineup week after week, game after game, not once ever wanting to look to see what might happen if we lose one of these guys come, an important game like in the playoffs. And here we are down Mark Scheifele, and there's no pushback. There was nothing. It was just an absolutely flat effort from the plug and play lineup.
Ben Howard is asking if I've seen a ghost, and hello darkness, my old friend. It certainly feels like it. T. Will says he didn't think it was going to happen again this year, and says being a Jets fan takes level 10 fandom. Trevor with the most clear point. I will never make a proclamation again. Need to figure it out Sunday. I'm not saying shit about this team going into Sunday.
Yeah.
Don't know what to expect. Our friend from St. Louis, Tyler Branch, says, greetings from St. Louis. I told you there would be a Game 7. Great game for 55 minutes and 5 minutes of what the fuck in the second. And that's what's so frustrating. The Jets genuinely, for a good amount of that game, were playing fine hockey.
Yeah.
And when they completely collapse, they go from a team that we watched for 82 games, put themselves in this position of winning the President's Trophy, having home ice, which is still in the back of my mind. This has been a home team series. I don't want to lose sight of that today. I'm trying to put on a brave face and work through this. Try and act like you've been there before. I haven't fucking been here before, I gotta say. This is tough.
This is new territory.
And it's just like when the wheels fall off completely for this team, it's goals in bunches. Like, I think St. Louis deserves credit in this one. Again, at home, they're controlling, they're dictating the style of play. And it's been that way for both teams at home versus the road. It's what you get when you get some quality teams. But at least St. Louis is making it a game in Winnipeg. And that's where I have the biggest trouble right now is there's a real good chance Winnipeg comes in on Sunday and wins the coin flip at home. Every home game, the home team's won. The Jets have seemed a lot better at home. In fact, somehow they played their most system-like when Scheifele went down last game.
Yeah.
But on the other end, with the collapses we see going on in St. Louis, who's to say they're not going to do that in a Game 7 at home with the nerves piled up? Who's to say at this point?
Yeah. It's absolutely possible. Like, we could get another, 7-minute run of just absolute dog shit and have them, pot in a few goals. It could go either way. Or they could, come out and win a, fairly half-dominant, fairly tight game at home, with a 4-1 empty net type situation and move on. It could go either way at this point. It's real frustrating to, on a day where the Jack Adams Award nominees get announced, and then you get the one of those finalists absolutely outclassed and outcoached again. It's real frustrating.
Hey, the Hart nomination came out yesterday, and I watched a guy look like he's worse than Stuart Skinner.
Yeah.
He's been worse than fucking Stuart Skinner.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even care about these individual awards anymore. It's actually frustrating that the time-wise of when they're coming out.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
This is real great.
I want to go to Gordy Angus's point here too. The Jets are built from the goaltender on out. He's our best player, and if he isn't, then the entire thing falls apart in seconds. That's it.
Yep.
That's it. And it goes on to say, if we have Binnington in net, the series is over already.
Yep.
Let's open up those. Let's open up those phone lines. Let's see what people want to talk about tonight. Let's work through this. Zero Ghost 8 says everyone just totally takes comfort in the effect that we were at least traded the second to get Shen with terms so we can enjoy him again next season. Yeah. I don't want to watch.
Ready for the first call?
You're telling me I got 82 games next year of Luke Shen and Logan Stanley on my back end. Good God.
Oh, yeah,
Good
baby.
God. How are they? Like, they're going to play Game 7. Arneal's not going to change anything.
No, they're playing.
But you played a pairing that you didn't even trust them to play together. They were playing with other partners for most of the game to try and get them shifts.
Yeah. It's atrocious. It's absolutely atrocious. You ready for the first call?
Let's go to the first call.
Hey, caller, thanks for holding. You're on the landing strip. What's your name and what would you like to talk about?
Hey, guys. It's Yacker from Twitter. Nick, Mikey, how are you guys? That's a horrible game.
Yacker, I've had better Friday nights, I gotta say.
I wanna talk about a quick little point that Mikey brought up at the top of the show there. So do the Jets think that we need to earn their fandom? I want to bring you guys back to about 2014, 2015, when my parents decided jobs in Calgary are a little better than Winnipeg, and maybe they were right, maybe they weren't. I'm not a fucking economist. I don't know. But they moved me to the middle of goddamn Calgary, and I've spent the last 15 fucking years fighting for these Jets. Oh, the Jets. That's a tough first-round matchup. Oh, we got this. We got that. It's goddamn everything. I've fought for forever for these Jets. Oh, Hellebuck can't play. I said it on Twitter. I've fought till I'm blue in the face. I had people after the first 2 St. Louis games at work. They were chanting, "We want Connor" at me. They're walking by my office yelling, "We want Connor." And I'm sitting there, "You don't want Connor." Of course they want Connor. He'll let anything in. I said it on Twitter. He couldn't stop a puck if it was twice the size of a goddamn NHL net. Now, I'll say it. This team hasn't been good in front of them. And am I going to blame the players?
Yep.
No. Let's start at the GM. I fought to death for Kevin Cheveldayoff, and I'll fight for anyone from the great city of goddamn Winnipeg. I love it more than anything in life. I'd leave my girlfriend to move to Winnipeg. I've told her that. But when you go to the deadline, you do fucking nothing. Scheifele gets hurt. Vlad's dying on the ice because he got a goddamn visor to the face. Then what? Then we go to the coach. What's the coach doing? Oh, yeah, let's roll Shen and Stanley out again. They've been fantastic. What's Miller doing? Face full of goddamn popcorn in the fucking press box. Oh, perfect. Sure. Why not? Absolutely. We'll just roll Stanley back. Maybe we'll play him with Pionk, who can't play anyone other than Sandberg. Sure. And I'll say it. I am a Jets homer through and through. I live in a province where there's the Oilers and the Flames. And both their fan bases tell me, you're terrible, you're terrible. Connor can't play in the playoffs. I go, at least he's better than Skinner. At least we're in the playoffs, the Flames fans. Well, he's worse than Skinner. We may as well have not shown up. What have we done in these playoffs? This is horrible. This is insanity. How do we do like this is the same I can't believe the biggest thing to me is that I just can't believe that we go back to Stanley and what was Shen tonight? -50? That's horrendous. Every goal against he was on the ice. And sure, I mean, yeah, he can hit and he can fight. Not if his brother's on the ice against him, and I don't blame him. I wouldn't fight if my sister was on the ice across from me. But that's an issue. Stanley, I mean, that guy, well, he had one hit, and he's done what since then? Nothing. He flips the puck to anyone that gets near him. It's insanity. And then let's go to Connor Hellebuck. Oh my God! I can't stress it enough. Anyone that I've had my best friend say, "Oh, Hellebuck can't stop a puck," I tell him, "You ever say that to me again, I'll never talk to you for the rest of my life." I love the Jets. You don't talk about the Jets like that to me. Well, what do I say when I see him tomorrow? What now? What is this? Going to Winnipeg, oh, well, we might win in Winnipeg. True North has had their fucking 2-3 whiteout parties now. They've made their cash. They don't care. I go to work every day and walk for goddamn 8 hours. That's basically my job. I work all day to make money so that I can fly to Winnipeg, go to Morrissey's restaurant, go to the Jets game, 8 beers at the Jets game. Those are about $12 a piece, probably more. Some popcorn, a hot dog. You guys want to make money? Let's ice a goddamn team that can play. This is insanity. I can't believe it. I'll hang up and listen. Nick, fucking love the show. Mikey, get your handsome face on the broadcast. Good Lord. You guys have a good night.
Thanks,
Yacker, that might be the best rant. That kicks my rant's ass. You know what? You were speaking from the heart. There's a lot of comments talking about how you didn't even take a breath. It was so impressive. You spoke to a lot of people with that one, so thank you for being here. Thanks for calling in. That no notes. That was, I think that's what we all need to hear. We just need to hear it told straight. You heard the passion. You heard everything we need to hear. Yacker, you're the man. Appreciate that, buddy. I feel you. I feel you hard. I'm the type of guy that gets into bullshit arguments all day about Hellebuck. And that's my goat, and I'm watching him self-destruct here.
Yeah, that was absolutely, you said it for all of us right across the spectrum here, Yacker. So we appreciate it. You got love on the Facebook chat, you got love in the YouTube chat, you got love on the Twitch chat. You're the voice of the generation right now, my guy. So thank you very much for that call. We've got Blake in St. Louis on hold. If you're ready for the next call, Nick.
Let's go to Blake in St. Louis. He was at the poor game, the poor bastard.
Hey, Blake, thanks for
Blake.
calling into the landing strip. What would you like to talk about?
What's up, guys? Yeah, terrific. I guess just the game overall, just very depressing. I'm lost in a sense. I've been to 2 of these games now in St. Louis, and game 3, and I watched literally the game be over in the first 2 minutes, and then now I watch this game, which honestly, the first period, I guess you couldn't ask for better from what they were going to come out as. Connor Hellenbuck can't save anything. He can't save a beach ball right now, to be honest. I mean, it's tremendously bad. Mason Appleton can't skate, so every time he's out there, if he's on the boards or if anything, he's just standing there. Once he gets his feet placed in, he's done. You ain't getting much out of him anywhere else because he can't skate. And I was very disappointed in Velarde. Very quiet game. Did more harm than good. Kyle Connor didn't look like himself as well. No fight from the guys really. Second period, watching that implode in the second period was typical game. It gave me flashbacks. But in the same point, I was at game 3, so it's just like, I was watching blowouts basically, and we're spending a shit ton of money to watch our team get blown out. So, my dad's loving it.
That's gotta be the worst part.
I'm getting all buddies, too, that are just snapping me. They were at the game as well. They're just dying laughing, and they're sending me videos of them at the game doing the Connor chant. It's just this game really took all the anxiety I've had this series. I don't know, if I sleep on it and things change, but really, man, kind of like your guys saying too, Game 7, I just don't know. It's like we play so bad in St. Louis, and then they somewhat have a good game in Winnipeg, so it's like a coin flip. So I'm hoping, just like they played all 82 games to get home ice. I remember Nick saying at the beginning of this series, I think it was after game 3. Once you lose on home ice, really, that's been stuck on the back of my head, and that's what I'm leaning on right now. And just you've been right though. Out of this series, the home ice team has really took advantage, and I'm just real depressed, guys.
Hey, Blake, as soon as you tweeted at me after I posted the link for the show, I was feeling for you driving from my buddy's place home, knowing you had to sit through that again. And I can't imagine, like, you're down there in the thick of it. Is Tyler Branch in the chat your boy? He keeps saying he told you not to go. Is that one of your boys?
Who is it? I'm sorry.
Tyler Branch.
No, I don't believe I might know him. I don't believe I do though. But
I can't imagine.
What's that? I'm sorry.
I can't imagine driving home with your dad after that either. Fuck.
No, he's trying. And it's funny because he keeps trying to like. It was that goal. The goal before Shem scored when Nathan Walker scored in front of that directly in front of Hellebuck when he went corner top. And when DeMello behind the net, when he was chasing him, and he got beat by a foot behind the net, he's just like, oh, you see him get dusted? You see this? Like, he's giving these little smart chirps. So it's just like, I really, just for the sake of it, I hope they win Game 7 just because of him. But with the confidence of winning the Stanley Cup though, and not being able to win an away game so far, and things can change, obviously, and that's what I'm leaning on as well. Things can always change. It's just this next game is what's really, really the most confusing part.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not confident leaving tonight. I feel like you bring up, you're not in trouble till you lose at home. Now, in Game 7, that gets a little amplified because if you lose Game 7 at home, guess what? It's all over.
That's a lot of trouble.
But the Winnipeg Jets have responded and played good hockey at home. That's all we could sit on at this point. That is the shining light. That is the ray of sunshine. Maybe we get Mark Scheifele back on Sunday. We'll see where that goes. But that is what people have to sit on, is just mumble into yourself. They've won every game at home. They've won every game at home. They've won every game at home. Because after a game like that, and after seeing just how bad St. Louis has broken down a real good defensive team out in Missouri, and knowing that could creep in at any time, as much as the focus will rightly be on a lot of Hellebuck, the Jets broke down again today. Completely broke down in front of them. And it's so disappointing.
They did. Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off, brother. I'm sorry.
No worries. You're good to go. You're good to go, buddy.
Yeah, no, I just it's very frustrating because we really did see them play lock solid D about, I would say, 68, 70 games out of the 82 even. And tonight, really, it's like they forget. They have this in, like, I don't know if it's so, like, they're just too, like, worried about having that next goal go in, or I don't know. But I've noticed once they have the lead, their play style just is it's a complete different style of game. So I'm really hoping that we can at least get the first goal. Just kind of like, even though they kind of like Game 5, for example, Kyle Connor scores one right off the bat, even though they scored one. It just gave the arena everywhere that great vibe, and just I don't know how to explain it even, but scoring that first goal in a Game 7 will have a lot to do with it, I think. And yeah, I'll let it go, guys, because I know there's more people wanting to call. But yeah, no, it definitely sucks going to both Game 3 and now Game 6 and watching the Jets get their ass beat. I hope if anyone's going to Game 7, they get that good luck in them. And Nick, it seems like seems like you're having real good luck, and I hope somehow you get your way up to Game 7. But yeah, take care, guys, so. And I really hope we can have a good sleep.
Thanks, Mike, and they're sending love in the chats as well, sending hugs, and everybody's they're with you, so they're with you in spirit.
Thanks, everyone. I'll see you guys soon.
We'll see you soon, and hey, me and Mikey will both be there for Game 7. Sunday's show will be coming after both of us are in-house for that one. It could be the greatest high of this program this year, or it could be the lowest low. And I'm not sure right now. I'm ready to find out. Our friend from St. Louis, Tyler Branch, says, I'm hoping Blake goes to Game 7 now. Also points out, from the other side of it, coming off the big win, says, where was it here? There was something I did want to share. We're going to try and bring the vibes a little bit. We're going to play therapist here. In their opinion, they were thinking that the Jets were probably the slight favorite and likely to win Sunday. We shall see.
See.
It's not over. It's a real down moment after what this team's done to us the last few years. We've heard a lot from them this year about the calluses building up, so that they felt that pain of losing and it was going to propel them over. They sure want to give the fan base some more calluses to get over the trauma of this team continually whimpering out.
Let's see if our next caller thinks the Jets are the favorites and going to win Sunday.
I want to read two comments first, and we'll pull them in.
Sounds good.
Eric does say, and I think this is a great point from Eric on YouTube, the team in front of Helly is not stopping the east-west play of the Blues and the activation of the Blues defense because they're not back-checking hard enough. The Blues defense activating has become a huge piece of this, especially Cam Fowler, who just set a franchise record in points. He's been fantastic. But yeah, let's go to the phone line here.
Hey, caller. Thanks for holding. You're on the landing strip. What's your name and what would you like to talk about?
Hey, boys. It's Team Canadian Colin.
What's going on,
got
King?
a few things I want to talk about. Not going to go full rant like Yacker. I was kind of laughing when he was going off. He texted me, or I guess not texted me, but on Twitter, I was saying I felt like puking before the game started. I said, I don't know how you guys handle these games. And he texted me and told me that he was already drunk. So I can imagine he was got to have been at the bottom of a 24-pack and we got that phone call. That was an incredible rant.
Yeah, hey, Yacker crushed it. Yacker crushed it.
A few things I wanted to talk about and touch on. I'm sure other people are going to talk on Hellebuck. I did last time. I don't want to really beat on that too much. But I'm not a goalie. I've never played goalie in hockey. I don't know a lot of things, but the book is obviously out on Connor Hellebuck on screens. And I don't know what an answer can be. It's quite obvious. Hellebuck, as soon as he can't see around the screen, he gets low and you shoot high and you're going to have a goal. We've seen it last year. The Avs really took advantage of it. We've seen it in Four Nations happening, and now we're seeing it again here. I don't know. I heard, I can't remember if it was on the panel or I seen on Twitter talking about the lack of block shots from the Jets. But if you're going to block shots, you're going to create a screen if you don't get a part of the puck. So it's kind of a 50-50. What do? You go and you want to see them sacrificing the body. You want to see them try and block a shot. But if they don't get a piece of that puck, Hellebuck's going to let it in because he can't seem to see around these screens. That Braden Shen one, I mean, as soon as that happened, I was just emotional. I felt like a serial killer. Just no emotion. I was just like, all right, this is over. Like, it's done. And I just wish, like, it was a bad start to the game. They dug in. The Morgan Barron thing happens. Then they score right after that. I wish Hellebuck would fight for the team a little bit. Like, he has in past games, like I think of that Oilers series, I mean, he won us that series. He has fought for this team, but this is the year we really need him. And I mean, it's got to be in his head. But that's all I want to touch on Helly. Quick kind of Helly related. After this game, I wanted some good vibes. So I went back and I watched the highlights, the Game 7 versus the Preds back in 2018. And Pekka Rainey, or how do you say his name, is very similar to Hellebuck, where he was an insane regular season goalie and complete and utter garbage in the playoffs, especially in that series. He lets in 2 soft ones in the first, and they pull him. Peter Laviolette pulls him, puts in Yusei Saros. Obviously, he doesn't win the game. We don't have Yusei Saros on the bench, but I hope on Game 7, if Helly lets in 2 soft ones, Arniel doesn't do the whole, we'll play him through it, or it's, his game to lose. For the team's sake, you got to pull him and put Eric Comrie in if he's going to let soft ones in. That's enough of my goalie talk. Mason Appleton, what on earth does he bring to this team? 3 points last game. The 1 point he got because he was complaining to a ref and got lucky and kicked the puck. Like, he's not a good player. We had 2 goals tonight taken off the board because of him. Didn't even make an effort to get onside in that incredible play by Morgan Barron. And then that later in the game, I can't remember exactly, it was like 6 or 7 minutes left. He takes that stupid slashing penalty. I'm not saying we come back if that goal scores, but what are you doing? You're pushing. Why are you taking stupid penalties while in the offensive zone while you're sustaining pressure? Why is he? What is he? He doesn't bring anything. The whole speed factor. You might as well have Tanev out there if you want speed on that line, because at least Tanev's fun to watch. I guess his hair flowing. I don't know. It's not like Tanev does much either. Logan and Luke Shen. I don't know if because they invested a second-round pick in Shen, they feel they need to play him, or Colin Miller is the worst person ever. I have no idea what it is. But they're so bad, they're splitting up other D pairs to try and help Stanley and Shen. What is the point of even having D pairs in chemistry if you're just going to mess everything up so that you can play Shen and Stanley? It makes no sense at all. At home, the last shift, they've been better, but we're going to just play them because we get last shift at home. That's the theory behind Luke Shen and Logan Stanley, getting better matchups. Like that, it's Yeah. And then coaching, like Arniel doesn't make any changes at all. Like even in this game when we're down, why don't if Mark Scheifele, we don't know how long he's out, but why not experiment with some stuff in the third? Say this obviously wasn't working. Let's see what a line of even Connor, Velarde, Ehlers, or or Perfetti or whatever. Try some things out. Don't just sit with the same what we've started the game because that's what we started the game with. The leadership on this team, Adam Lowry. You scored a couple empty net goals, but you're supposed to be the physical leader of this team, and he's throwing that one big hit on Ryan Suter. That's the only one really that rings in my head. Like where has he been? And it's not just him. Morrissey, Connor had a horrible game today. These guys that have been here, been a part of this core. There's no pushback like we've heard other people say. There's no. Adam Lowry, every time he's in the interview, I don't think I've ever heard him pissed off. He's always happy-go-lucky. I don't know what happens in the locker room, but I think of McDavid last year in the Stanley Cup Finals, just losing his mind on people. We never see that out of Adam Lowry, and it's frustrating. But it starts at the top. When your owner comes out and says Kevin Cheveldayoff has a job for life, the rest of those boys know they got a job for life. So what's the point, And the last point I want to make is it's so frustrating. I don't know how many times it has yelled at my screen tonight to shoot the puck. St. Louis is shooting the puck. They're scoring greasy goals. They're getting, because of Hellebuyck struggling with screens, they're getting stuff through, and they're scoring. Their D-men are scoring. Their D-men are racking up the points. I mean, Cam Fowler's like on all-time lists right now with points. Why are we not shooting the puck? Kyle Connor is looking for the most perfect shots ever on the power play. Shoot the puck. All the defensemen get the puck, pass, until they can find someone down low. Shoot the puck. It's the playoffs. You need to shoot the puck, get into the greasy areas, and score goals that way. It's not the regular season anymore where you can look for the perfect shot, the perfect pass, get the puck to the net, and hope something happens. Anyway, that's the end of my rant. I hope Sunday is happiness, and then I'm just going to be worried sick about the next 4 games. Whoever we play, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I hope Arniel makes some changes. I hope Connor Hellebuyck just becomes the heart-level player we know in the regular season, somehow gets out of this funk, and if he doesn't, I hope Arniel makes that Eric Comrie change immediately after 1 or 2 stinkers and at least gives the team a fighting chance. Anyways, love the show, boys. Have a good rest of your night.
Hey, thanks for the call, man. Mikey, before we go to Tico Napoli, who I know is next, and then I believe Matt Rothman right after that.
Yep.
I want to touch on a few of the things. So, on the Lowry thing, we were kind of touching on this last game. He's got to be hurt, right? He does not look to be answering the bell in the way we're used to Adam Lowry being. Josh Morrissey came up. He, to me, also doesn't seem to have that jump and that foot speed that allows him to get away and create what he wants. So I've been under the impression both those two guys are playing through something, and it's frustrating. On the Appleton stuff, everyone knows my opinion on him. And it was great to point out, I forgot he was behind both of the goals, not coming behind. Frustrating there that he keeps his spot in the top 9, and Alex Iafallo gets dropped all the way to the 4th. I'll say this on the changes from Arniel. I think the changes are obvious. Mason Appleton should be bumped down. Iafallo should be in this top 9. I hope he does not change the Lowry, Perfetti, Ehlers line, though. I actually did enjoy that line today. I thought we've been wanting to see that group all year, and to finally see it in the playoffs, that was my shining light coming out of this game. And the other one is, and it's so insane to me because a lot of the people that tune in this show and kind of get on my ass are like, oh, you think you know more than an NHL coach. I'm hanging out watching all these playoff games with guys that grew up playing competitive hockey with, guys that are coaching, guys that are scouting. I have yet to find a single person that understands this game, that understands the Shannon Stanley thing. It cannot fucking happen anymore. It can't. Going into a Game 7, you cannot have both those guys on your blue line. Hello. That's what I want to see from an adjustment. Hey, what's going on, T-Kona? How are you doing?
Hello.
What's going on, T-Kona?
Hey, there you go, man. What's going on? Okay, I don't know what's going on. I've been losing track of my points here, trying to get through. But Wow. Could that get any worse? 3 times the same 3 kind of results?
It can't. It can't get worse than what we saw. The 3 games in St. Louis would probably be 3 of the top 5 worst games the Jets have played this year.
They have to be. Maybe in the last 2 years. Well, other than the Avalanche time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hey,
12 months ago.
they touched on apples. Wow. Unreal. You can't even get on side when Barron's making a play like that?
Right.
Embarrassing.
Terrible. And then the last caller, the shots. I could see Ehlers passing up a couple because, he hasn't played in a bit. But Morrissey, you got that puck, high slot or center of the ice there. Fire the puck, man. What you pass it off? That's high percentage shots are from the middle of the ice. Low percentage shots of like 40, 30% are from the goal line to the circle. The angle. You missed the net. Even Connor. Shots in the middle of the ice at the high point. They're almost always on net. Why are you passing those up?
And on that point too, because that was frustrating today. But another thing they didn't have that I thought they did really good as an adjustment in Game 5 was something I came out of Game 5 complimenting and really enjoyed is we finally saw the Jets getting their forwards to create traffic. We saw 2 forwards on the crease kind of mucking it up for Binnington. The shots that did come through, there was just no help. And Jordan Binnington's going to stop pucks if he sees them. You're seeing, I saw today the complete opposite at both ends of the ice on what was actually getting generated, which is frustrating.
Yeah, okay. And then you bring up the goaltending. Well, gee whiz. How was that compete for the crease tonight from Hellebuck?
Yeah, it wasn't there.
Soft as can be. He plays like he's 4'0", man. Why don't you try going Stolers just once in a game in a series? Maybe you might scare them away from your crease. He's inviting people to his crease. He's such a suck in the crease there. Like, I can't believe how soft he plays in net. The first goal, they should have challenged. It is goalie interference because Sandberg is pushing him like the Detroit coach said there. He's pushing them east to west, not into Hellebuck. So that's goalie interference. But what is Hellebuck doing there? He doesn't even blocker him. He just stops where he is and lets him glide by. Push them both out of your way. Bump them. Do something. Don't just stop because, that's all the room they're giving me. You can play physical in your crease as a goalie, too.
Yeah.
I would think, especially when you're 6'5".
He needs to fight for the blue paint, and it hasn't been happening.
That's right. From fight for the blue paint, you don't do that. Okay, and now we'll go to fight. I know your stance on Bauer. It's my stance, too. He's not an NHL defenseman. Certainly not at this point. But he skates as good as Shen. He ain't much worse than Stanley. And I guarantee you, teams know, push the Jets around, and it's easy peasy. Lowry's a no-show. Shen should have tuned his brother first shift of the game tonight for putting Shipley out last game. Bauer would do that, at least. Teams might fear the Jets a little.
Hey, Luke Shen has been so bad in this series. He has to be the worst deadline ad we've seen Kevin Cheveldayoff pull off and the performance they've gotten out of there that I'm willing to try anyone. Ticona, I would dress you up instead of Logan Stanley and Luke Shen at this point, honestly. If you want to get the gear out and become a skater, I'd send you out there at this point, Ticona.
I'll take the net. You should have seen me play. It's a little a la Billy Smith and Ron Hextall. So I got no problem. When you come to my crease, I used to play with heat and gear, and if you come in my crease, the motto was, you're heating.
I love that.
So I'll end it on that.
Hey, Ticona, thanks for the call.
Go Game 7.
Go Jets, go Game 7. Thanks for the call. love hearing from you. We're gonna go to Matt Rothman next, but I gotta push. I got this from Scott Westman. Nick, you forget Kevin Hayes, and I gotta say, Kevin Hayes is 10 times the player I've seen from Luke Shen. What does Luke Shen bring to this team right now?
Nothing. He brings the the mentorship that they wanted for Logan Stanley. Here's how to do everything wrong, kid. There you go. You ready for the call with Matt?
Yeah, let's talk to Matt.
Hey, Matt, thanks for holding. You're on the landing strip. What would you like to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, obviously a lot of them have already hit it on the head, but for me it's sort of this weird situation because I'm about to graduate. I actually graduate on Sunday for college in Florida, and so I was like, very excited to, possibly when I get to do my walk, I just have one of my Jets gear on and whatever. Also, I think I told you, Nick, but our sports director at our school is a Jets fan too, so it was great to connect with him. But it's just so disappointing, honestly, because it's like, I know there was going to be a lot of, struggles, going on the road and that stuff. But the thing that really, pissed me off the most, I'd say, was just the effort after, that second goal in particular was just really pathetic. And sort of as I said, in the beginning, it was just one of those where, like, I just saw a lot of heads drop, and then once the third goal went in, like both goals 4 and 5, obviously, the third goal was the one that ended it, but 4 and 5 was just the epitome of poor effort, to say the least. And the fifth goal really just summed up the game. But, obviously a lot of the others have talked about Appleton. I mean, honestly, I just don't understand, like, what's the obsession with this guy. Like, even, like, this year and last year, like, this guy has played more minutes, like, during some important games than Steelers has. And I will never understand it whatsoever. Like, I just don't know what this guy brings. And now he's playing, like, power play 2 times. And this guy always misses the net when he shoots.
The fact he's on power play 2 is quite the indictment. Honestly, the fact that Mason Appleton is as trusted in Winnipeg is insane. And I'll be stunned if he signs anywhere but Winnipeg this summer, and we're going to have to live on with this frustration. But the fact that you look at this forward group and it's only missing Mark Scheifele and he's on a power play, that's an indictment of the roster. It's an indictment of the roster.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why, like, the trade deadline acquisitions, like, there would be some that say, they got depth, it wasn't a bad deadline, but it's like you basically got 2 players that are easily replaceable. Like, for 2 second-round picks, you got Luke Shen, who supposedly is this big guy who's supposed to hit. I don't even know a big hit he's actually had in this series. And then you have Tanev, who basically you might as well, as I said in the chat, you might as well just have him figure skate at this point because that's all he does. Like, I don't see anything else that he provides, in this team besides the skating, which, we knew obviously they needed a top 6 center. Okay, of course, like, some will say, no trade clause, this and that, obviously that. But the thing is that we've noticed that problem for years. It's not like this was, a problem that we needed another top 6 forward. Like, just now, we addressed it last year. We knew it was a thing, the year before that, and we even knew it, like, after they traded Pierre-Luc Dubois to the Kings, that we needed a second-line center. And yet, like, they still haven't addressed it. So, ultimately, that goes to the top, Kevin Cheveldayoff, to where, like, and that's where the lack of accountability comes in with the owner, who's just, like, hell-bent on, having Chevy stay there for life, to the point where it's like, the owner only cares for the bottom line. Like, if they get into the playoffs, they get a few, playoff games, playoff revenue, and that's good. But if they don't win a cup, whatever, we got our money. Like, you can't tell me this organization really cares about a cup if, like, that's what they're running on, which is sort of frustrating to me. And honestly, I just hope that, like, after my graduation, I don't have to cry. But, I don't want to think about that,
Hey, man, I appreciate all your thoughts. You're speaking my mind for me. The beauty of this show, honestly, every caller is saying exactly where I'd like to go, and I didn't know how to put it today. Congrats on your graduation. That is awesome, bud. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being a part of this, and hopefully you're not crying for it. I'm hoping you're not crying for it.
I hope not. Thanks, Mikey. Thanks, Nick.
Hey, thanks, buddy. A little announcement. If you're looking for Whiteout Street Party tickets, they go on sale tomorrow at 10 a.m. I know I had some people reaching out about that. Turd Ferguson says, where's all the peeps who said not to mess with the locker room and Vlad deserves a chance at our 2C? Chevy did fine at the TDL, and hey, they used to be a part of this show. Let's have that conversation next week. I look forward to having that one. Let's ride that one, baby.
Oh, God.
As Scott Westman puts it, 10 years of looking for a 2C. It's like the Where's Waldo of 2Cs.
Yep. The most frustrating thing out of all of this is, so what do you think was the best line tonight in terms of just their, on the ice with your eye, the stats? Who was it tonight for you?
Well, haven't looked at the numbers tonight. This is all emotion today. I'm going to take the shot that it was Lowry, Perfetti, Ehlers.
By a country mile. By an absolute country mile, they were the best line, whether it's shot attempts, high danger attempts, expected goals. Where do you think they fell in terms of 5-on-5 ice time tonight?
The fact you're asking that tells me they were the third line tonight.
They were the third fucking line tonight, behind the Barron, Niederreiter, and Appleton line. They played the third amount of minutes 5-on-5 tonight. When, again, they were easily, by every metric, the only line that was slightly productive. And again, this coaching staff identified that as, no, I'd rather see Mason Appleton out there for 15 fucking minutes during this game. It is absolutely baffling that we're still having this discussion about this far into the fucking playoffs. Luke Shen and Logan Stanley did not play with each other at 5-on-5 the most minutes tonight. They were not each other's pair. Why are we playing them? Why are they in the lineup if you can't trust them as a pairing? What are we doing? I tried so hard to get on board with Arniel this year. I tried so fucking hard to get behind this coaching staff and the calls and trying to reason and justify the decisions that they've made to just be absolutely locked to this fucking lineup this way. And it doesn't make sense. None of the numbers lead out to you going down that road. The eye test doesn't say, hey, that's looking great. What the fuck are we doing? What is the magic evaluation that they have that the rest of us don't get to see? Because it makes no fucking sense at this point. I don't get it.
Locker room chemistry and vibes, brother. That's what the Winnipeg Jets mantra is. It doesn't have to make sense as long as it's within a box.
Talk about the butterfly effect. Fucking Arniel gets locked out of a locker room in Columbus 10 years ago, and now we have to watch Logan Stanley and Mason Appleton for 30 minutes a fucking game.
That stat, actually, when people wonder why Nick Ehlers walks out that door, let's bring up Game 6 on the ice time.
Don't wonder. Who's wondering? Yeah. If you wonder at this point, you haven't watched any of the games. We should be giving Nick Ehlers a fucking parade on his way out and fucking... I'm just annoyed.
I like this from Palisagian Skeleton. No other choice now to pull out Bufflin out of retirement.
Yeah. And we wonder why Bufflin walked off last time.
I Smell Great says the salt in the wound is when Ehlers walks and Shen, Stanley, Appleton, and Tanev are all here in the fall, and I would get ready for that. Yeah. This is what's on the line for me, actually. Let's put it here. This is what's on the line for me Sunday. My entire belief in this team ever figuring it out, honestly, because even if they lose in Game 7 on Sunday, we're going to hear Kevin Cheveldayoff say it was a step forward. We're disappointed, but it was a step forward. You're going to hear the core of this team say the same platitudes that they've been talking for 12 months that, you got to learn to lose before you win. You got to learn to lose before you win. Guess what? The teams that actually lose from winning or lose before winning actually make it to multiple rounds before getting over that hump. They're not doing it just to get through the first round. They're normally taking heartbreaking losses in the goddamn conference finals and bouncing back. Yep. They're not all their cores aren't all in their 30s looking to get over the hump of a first fucking round. Like, that's what it all means, and this is what's so frustrating about being the Winnipeg Jets fan in this spot. This is why we feel it. This is why we get down in the dumps, because whatever happens on Sunday, nothing will fucking change next year other than the same roster with the same lineup card with Nick Ehlers being replaced by, like, Ilya Chibrikov or Brad Lambert. And guess what? As much as fans want to be high on those guys, None of them is Nik fucking Ehlers, and never will be.
Even that's
and that is why there's so much emotion in all this, because everybody knows that no matter what happens Sunday, there will be no consequences to it. There will be nothing changing. It'll be the same group with the same platitudes that it's just learning. They're learning. They're learning. They're learning. They're learning. They've been learning since 2019. And that's why you get the emotion out of this group. I know a lot of people tune in and are like, it's still one more game. Why are we still down in the dumps? Because it's not just one game at this point. This is a history-defining one game. And honestly, based on what we just saw on the road, I took in the Colorado-Dallas game last night. And I got to say, as a hockey fan, not having a vested interest, phenomenal choice. Phenomenal choice. The pace of that game, the game script of that game, incredible. And if the Winnipeg Jets simply don't have their A game once at home versus what's coming in the next round, they don't have a hope in hell in winning on the road with what's coming on the other side of St. Louis on Game 7.
Yep.
Here's another stat. Thank you, Justin L. on Twitch. On Luke Shen in this series. 3 goals for, 10 goals against with him on the ice.
Oh. Yeah, it's not working. We've talked about Shen Stanley. They've got limitations, right? They've got the warts, and you can hide those warts a little bit if you give them the right partner with the right minutes, using them in the right situations. You can kind of work around that. But if you put them together, what the fuck do you expect is going to happen? There is no foot speed. Stanley has no awareness whatsoever on the ice. It baffles me that he's at this level still at this point. Blind backhand pass lazily to fucking the Blues in the defensive zone. Like, I don't understand how we've gotten to this point. I've tried to ignore the Stanley thing for quite a while now. I've tried to just be like, whatever, it is what it is. We can't do anything about it. But at this point, it's costing you games. Mason Appleton is costing you games. I don't understand what they're seeing that we're not seeing.
And I'm not even joking when I say this. Luke Shen and Logan Stanley would not be a top pair in the AHL. It's like, how do you get this wrong so consistently? And one thing we've talked about on this show, and I believe it would have been Al Camino that called in last Sunday. I know Choices and I have had this conversation quite a bit about finding that extra 2%. And we talk about, like, this is why the deadline matters. Every little increment matters at this time of year. Instead of getting the best 2% out of it, you're taking like a minus 6-7% hit by not playing Colin Miller for either of those two bums.
Yep. You've got the options right there who are offering you the things that you're missing on the ice right now. It is clear to every other human being who is not inside of that room. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating at this point.
The fucking Luke Shen, Dylan DeMello goal. How does that happen in the NHL?
You're right. How?
A D-to-D pass where they're not even on the same page, and it's a free rim to the forechecking Blues. How does that happen in a playoff game in the NHL from 2 veterans?
Right? Like, this isn't a preseason game where nobody's played yet and you're shaking off the rust and, you've had a long off season. You're in the thick of the fucking playoffs. And over on YouTube, Ice Mel, great. Man, a third pair of Kovacevic and Chisholm would look a lot better to me. Can you imagine that right now if you had that as your third pairing? Both guys were here, under contract. You had full control. Could have had that, but no. It's the Logan Stanley game, and we're all just here for it.
Honestly, and it's probably a waste of a question at a year-end press conference, but honestly, somebody should ask Kevin Cheveldayoff in front of the world, in front of this fan base, with the mics on, at what point, 2016 was 9 years ago. At what point can we expect some kind of value from that first round pick? Because the asset cost, Dylan DeMello was exposed to Seattle. Now, Seattle's entire process was moronic, and that's why they are where they are right now. But you protected Logan Stanley as an expansion protection because he played 20 good games on a third pair beside Dylan DeMello. We're getting hype pieces in this market from journalists talking about the next Logan Chara. Logan Chara. He was on the trajectory, despite never, ever in his career looking like he's on the trajectory.
Not once.
We've lost Declan Chisholm.
Yep.
We've lost Jonathan Kovacevic. We've paid assets to block other defensemen, and he's still here, and he's one of the worst defensemen in the NHL. And guess what you put him with? This guy can't skate unless he's got all the ice in the world, because as soon as somebody's staring at him, it's fucking panic central.
Yep.
And you have a guy like this, and you know what this org decided? And you could go back to the deadline episode. As soon as that trade went down, I said Luke Schenn could work if the plan isn't to pair him with Logan Stanley and you're going to get another puck mover. You need a puck mover. The organization's plan was to pair Logan fucking Stanley with Luke Schenn, neither of which can move, two of the 12 slowest defensemen in the NHL. Neither of them that could pass a puck because they shit themselves as soon as there's pressure. Neither of them are using their size to block out the front of the net. None of them are good at penalty killing in this series. And that was the plan. And you paid a second-round pick and have them both sign next year. Who is the scouts? Who is the GM? Who is watching hockey? Like, I'm a bit of a loser. I watch a ton of hockey, and I told you on deadline day that this was a night of a plan, and you're seeing it in fucking May.
Yep.
How did this happen? Like, these people are making millions to make these decisions. This was doomed from fucking day one, and it's game 6 and it's still going on, and you can't even trust them to play together in the game.
Yep. I told you this was what they wanted to do on that episode. They wanted Logan Stanley to play with Luke Schenn because they thought they saw a mentor in it. Oh, this is what it'll take. This will put Logan Stanley over. This will bring him along. Here we go. We found the key. We've unlocked it. It's Luke Schenn. And I hate being right because it's never about anything fucking good. But every time this is where we end up. And here we are, the pairing that they wanted the whole fucking way through. They've got everybody available on defense. They could have any combination of guys that they want, essentially, and this is the one that they go, yep, we're gonna go out there with Luke Schenn and Logan Stanley and not play them together. No, we'll just disrupt every other pairing so that they can be big ? They're good in the room ? And for the good in the room stuff, again, I said it last time, I'll say it again. You can travel with the team. You can practice with the team. You can be so fucking involved and there and good in the room without being on the ice, without costing them on the ice, without costing them goals. And we haven't realized that part of the equation yet. Right now it's still, well, everybody likes him in there, so he has to play no matter what, even if it makes no fucking sense.
Relationships, not results. The Winnipeg Jets mantra.
It's relationships,
I gotta go. Here's a couple things. I want to go to a couple places. Sean points out a good stat here, and this really amplifies why the Hellebuck thing is so frustrating. Here's a stat: the Jets are the best team in the playoffs in expected goals against per 60, and I think they've been strong defensively for such big stretches of this series that honestly doesn't surprise me. Yep. It's how big the mistakes are or the breakdowns are creates such a good look, and you're not getting the saves on the ones you got to stop. Like, it's just been a comedy of areas up and down.
Yeah.
Phyllis points out in the third period, shots on goal were 12 Winnipeg, 4 for St. Louis. They played more defensively sound in front of Comrie, in which Sean says the Jets emotionally in that third period looked like Pierre Poilievre giving his concession speech while losing his own riding. On the shots in the third, my big takeaway there is, like, the game was over. That was St. Louis going into back on their heels mode. That was score effects.
They were doing their taxes in their head while they were playing the third period. They were not paying attention at that point.
They realized they missed the deadline and had to pay some interest. So I just can't look at that third period and take much out of it.
Yeah, agreed. Unfortunately.
Where are you at with? Meatball 1500 says, if it makes you feel better, I'm sure Ehlers will sign with an actual contender. Don't blame him, man.
That does make me feel a little bit better, yeah. Or if he doesn't want to sign with a contender, he can come to Montreal. We'll we'll at least play them enough minutes. They won't win anything, but at least get to play.
I Smell Great says the Blues were mentally preparing for the whiteout in the third. Mikey, let's go to the From Financial Face-Off. And then let's slowly work our way out of here. If you're new to the show or you're involved right now, we want to hear your From Financial Face-Off, which is a segment we turn over to you. And we're curious which you thought were the details within the game that made the biggest difference in this one. What is your From Financial Face-Off and details going into Game 7? A do or die for both teams here in Winnipeg on Sunday at 6 p.m. I feel like puking already, and we're not even 2 days out.
Mm-hmm.
Mikey, what was your From Financial Face-Off?
On a night where everybody was, kind of dog shit, it was a tough game to parse through. I was taking a look at the heat maps for the end of the game here, and it definitely confirmed what I was kind of seeing on the ice, was that St. Louis again just completely owned the middle of the ice. They had absolutely no response for St. Louis coming straight at them. St. Louis in the offensive zone was right in Hellebuck's face. They were owning the space out more towards the slot area as well. It just, the Jets had no ability to clear that way out, to give Hellebuck the ability to see any of the fucking shots. They weren't getting in Binnington's face either. They were letting St. Louis do to them what they were generally good at for most of the year and clearing out that space. So once again, the Jets lost the battle for the middle of the ice, and it cost them on the scoreboard. So that was my From Financial for just a big failure for a game.
Our new friend out of St. Louis, who appreciate the kind words again on our show, says Game 7 will be tight and go into overtime. It just feels right. So Tyler doesn't want a show on Sunday because I'll be having heart palpitations live.
I was going to say, I'm going to have another cardiac event with that one, Tyler. You're trying to kill me.
I'll go to the chat for some of theirs, and we'll keep her going. Zero Ghost 8 over on Twitch says the From Financial Face-Off is Scott O'Neill is just bones with better hair, and this org is never going to change anything. That is the difference. BB Can Tyler Ross says the From Financial Face-Off was the difference was Logan Stanley and Mason Appleton's parents not using a condom. Jesus. I got to read some of these before talking. Big Papa says, From Financial, make a damn save. Don't chase the hits game. Bench Stanley, Appleton, and Shen. Hulk says his From Financial Face-Off is winning tomorrow doesn't change the image of this series, and you're buying time to get flogged by a team with more than one scoring line. Choices TK says From Financial Face-Off, whiskey is the only way to deal with this team before, during, and after the game. Over on YouTube, Tico Napoli says From Financial Face-Off is the self-destruction from all 20. And at the end of the day, I do think all 20 guys, plus the staff, plus the GM, wear Brent to the blame tonight. Kevin K says, From Financial Face-Off, folding like a cheap tent the second adversity strikes, that Shen goal broke them. And that game ended. As soon as that Shen goal went in, you might as well have thrown a white Gatorade towel on the ice and just said, we're going home. That game was over the second that puck went in, so I like that from Kevin. Jet-Centric saying, From Financial Face-Off, being right about the Ehlers return, and Jet-Centric was all over that on Twitter.
Yeah. As
the guy saying Game 6 was going to be the time. I was starting to think Game 7,
Never doubt.
if not Game 1. Jet-Centric was on it. From Financial Face-Off, from I Smell Great. Was Ehlers feeding other guys the puck and then seeing his shoulders sag when they gave it away? He's used to that in his career. Yeah. My From Financial Face-Off. Then I want to go to a couple points from Ben Howard here. My From Financial Face-Off today. You know what? I'm going to try and sprinkle some joy. My From Financial Face-Off in this series has been how much better each of the home teams has looked compared to the other team. Now, St. Louis has looked far more dominant in their home games than Winnipeg has. But the Winnipeg Jets have fought for home ice all year. They're 3-0 there. They've played their best hockey there. My From Financial face-off difference is this series will continue to be a home ice series. The home team is going to win every game in this series. That's where I got to put my faith into these fuckers one more time.
Calling your shot?
If not, if they lose Sunday, I'm bringing back Fraud Squad designs like you would not believe. We will be trolling these losers for the rest of the time. We will be profiting off of these guys being losers for the rest of the time. But for today, it's a home team series, and that's my From Financial difference.
Am I allowed to wear my Fraud Squad sweater to the whiteout? I mean, it's white.
You are. Hey, Les wore it game 1, actually.
So, I might be breaking that one out for game 7. We'll see.
I got to find mine. I was going to wear it tonight. I don't know where it is right now.
I do want to shout out Zero Ghost Dates from Financial Face-Off. Cole Perfetti, still a fucking baller. Feels like one of the few who still give a fuck. So I agree with Zero Ghost Date there. Cole Perfetti, first playoff goal tonight. Should have been his second after getting robbed earlier, but that's fine. Absolutely ridiculous. Was awesome.
Yeah, there's a couple more From Financials to get to. Harjivana Parwana says, my From Financial face-off is the terrible trade deadline, which Julian also says the From Financial face-off putting chemistry over winning with the pathetic trade deadline. Brian over on Twitch says the From Financial face-off says this goes well beyond Game 7. Arneal is going to have to eat his ego and admit some wrong. Stanley and Shen both out there can't have it. Miller in the press box can't have it. Appleton over Iafallo on the third line can't have it. Toninato in the lineup over Gus can't have it. You can't shoot yourself in the foot on things that are completely in your control. And yeah, especially that many. Like, that's a lengthy list for a team that needs everything to go right for their talent to shine through. Love that point from Brian. Top line, the landing strip continues to go global as we got a chat from Ackright89. Hello from Germany.
Welcome in.
Nice to see you in the chat from Germany. Zazzer, beer's looking fresh. They'll line them, and hey, if these guys lose it, I might have to get rid of it all, and I don't want to. I'm liking the beard. I got to try and look like I'm from the country when I go down to Ireland in a few weeks. Jacob Von Lowe says from Financial Face-Off, bro, Morrissey has got to use his feet and jump in the rush like he has all fucking year. And that's clearly what's missing in Josh Morrissey's game, and that's clearly where he could be a difference maker. I'm at the point where I'm confident just watching him, especially like I was really trying to zoom in on him when I was at the last game. He's something's going on in his lower body. He doesn't have the burst. He doesn't have the push off he's used to doing, and which separates him as a defenseman. Tyler Branch says, I will buy a Fraud Squad sweater and a Jets Appleton jersey if the Blues lose on Sunday. Hey, we're holding him to that. We'll get him down a Fraud Squad sweater.
We'll get you a Fraud Squad sweater. We'll put Appleton on the back of it for you. Combine that for you. Put his number and everything.
Imagine investing a couple $100 into an Appleton NHL jersey. Oh, good Lord. That'd be a rarity. That thing might be worth something one day out of it just because there hasn't been many made. Choices TK also points out 36 subscribers away from 500 on YouTube. Get that done, folks. And that's been our end of year goal. I think if I'm not mistaken, we were in like the 150 range to start this season. If we could end this season at 500, I would be stoked.
Be huge.
2 questions for me, both from Ben Howard. And I've been having this one of the conversations with a few hockey group chats this week. Let's go the first one, though. Are you going to Eric Comrie or Connor Hellebuck Game 7?
Obviously, we're going back to Connor Hellebuck. There's no there's no way I can see Arneal making a change at this point. You know what I mean? They'll go down with the guy that got him here. They're going to go down on that ship. So it's they're definitely going back to Connor Hellebuck, and I think you have to. It's as tempting as it is to go to Comrie. I think if you were going to make that statement, I think you do that in this game here. In Game 6 is when the time you should have done it. I think Game 7 back at home, you go out there with Connor Hellebuck. You're not even in this position, like I said, to have Game 7 at home without Connor Hellebuck. Whatever's going on in his head, I don't think it gets better by sitting him in Game 7, the biggest game in his career up to this point at home.
Josh LaValle, feel free to call in if you want to call in. We're still live. I'll take.
We got a call. We got a caller now. If you're ready.
Sounds good. I'll get into my thoughts. Comrie Helly after.
Okay.
position. Like I
Thanks
said,
for holding. You're on the landing strip. What's your name and what would you like to talk about?
Going on in his head, I don't think it gets
Hello?
better by,
Hey, caller, you're on the landing strip now. Can you just mute the show behind you?
Point at home.
Josh, LaValle, feel free to call in if you want to call in.
We got a call. We got a caller now. If you're ready.
Sounds good. I'll get into my thoughts, Tommy.
Okay. Just if that caller's listening right now, when you call back in, just hit mute on the show in the background, and we'll get you back on there.
Okay, on Comrie, Hellebuck until they call back in. I think you stick to the home formula, but it has to be a short leash. It has, like, if he lets in the first goal on shot number 3 and it's garbage, everything's got to be on the table. This is game 7 for all the fucking marbles.
You ready for the call?
Yeah.
Hey, caller. Thanks for holding. You're on the landing strip. What's your name and what would you like to talk about? All right. I think that caller's still having some technical issues trying to get through.
Has to be a short leash. Has to be a short leash.
So
has to be a short leash.
If you go to Hellebuck there, you back there, caller?
Yeah, I think so.
There we go. Hey, thanks.
My bad, boys.
All
bad,
good.
my bad.
Welcome to the landing strip.
Yeah, thank you. So I am Josh. So I'm calling with one point in mind. I might have been a little bit late to the show, but
that's okay.
To be honest, the problem to me, it has to be Lowry at this point. Where has he been? Invisible. He's not the captain. Why is he the captain of our team? If he's not the captain for his skills prowess, is he? No. Can we all agree to that?
We definitely agree on that.
So where has he been? When in the playoffs, what you expect heart out of him? You expect heart, physicality. Where has he been? He hasn't been showing up. I haven't seen it. I don't know if where has it been? That's what we need.
It hasn't been there
right now, and it's embarrassing, honestly. And I the only thing that I can see out of the team around him, when you're there's some blame to be placed at Hellebuck. There's some weak goals there, but it's just there's no going back to Bones, that Vegas series, no pushback, right? He's the guy that we look to for this, and I haven't seen it. Where is it? I hope I see it in Game 7. It has to be there for Game 7, or else we're toast. It comes from him. I'm pissed off about that, honestly. So that's why I'm calling in. I don't know if I've heard it. Again, I was late. Some people might have spoken up about that, but I'm just gonna leave it there. Let you guys kind of maybe talk about that a little bit. I haven't seen it. I don't know if you guys have. I haven't.
Hey, Josh, thanks for the call. Let's dive into that. Appreciate you being here and checking this out and calling in. Mikey, thoughts on Louds so far?
Yeah, this is not the Adam Lowry that we've come to really count on throughout the course of the year, right? We saw them start off this year playing like an absolute just fucking bat out of hell, right? He was hitting everything that moved. He was all over the ice. For a big chunk of the beginning of the season, we were heavily advocating that line should be viewed as the second line, not the third line, just because of the production level that they were producing at, right? This Adam Lowry is not that. Whether that's an injury that I'm sure we'll probably hear about once the playoffs are over, whether that's a mental thing, a personal thing, whatever it is, the level of play just plain isn't there. So if we're going to look at Connor Hellebuck, for example, and say, yeah, a lot of those goals maybe weren't his fault, but, at some point you got to make a save. We can also look at Adam Lowry and go, yeah, there's probably some extenuating circumstances going on, but at a certain point we need him or somebody playing in that spot to be at a certain level to be successful. Either you're too hurt to play and you can't be out there, or you have to be productive. We're at the point now in the season where there is no later. This is where everything has to be kind of left out on the ice. So yeah, Adam Lowry is absolutely missing in action, and you can give whatever excuse you want to it, and we can do the same for Connor Hellebuck, but at the end of the day, we're missing that production, we're missing that play, we're missing that level of tenacity from Lowry and from that line.
Mikey, That was an excellent, excellent trip to the buffet on this topic. Like, you touched on everything I wanted to get to. You touched on everything. I can't even follow that up with anything of quality, so I'm going to dive into the chat quickly. Turn Ferguson says, Laus is clearly hurt. I mean, let's be real, he's never been the guy that plays like this ever. And that's where I've leaned this entire series as well. Also points out in which Brad Yak, our boy the Yacker, says, everyone is. And with 55 and all the other guys, it's inexcusable. But when you've got the C strapped to your chest, unless your left leg is dangling off your left hip joint, you've got to play like a monster.
Yep.
And I think what's so obvious with the Lowry side of it is seeing his counterpart have such a big physical stamp on this series in Braden Shen. Like, if you were to look at St. Louis, Braden Shen is their Adam Lowry. Adam Lowry is our Braden Shen. And Braden Shen has left his mark both physically and on the score sheet. And Adam Lowry's added a couple of empty nets. And that's been a difference in the head-to-head matchup of this series. I think that's all fair.
And if you want to look at a point to a reason or find an excuse, you know, again, the Jets are quote-unquote deep, but were they deep enough at the position to not have Lowry come into this just absolutely gassed and beat and destroyed? Right? We needed more center depth the whole way through, and it just never came. You ready for another call?
Let's go to the phones.
Hey, caller. Thanks for holding. You're on the landing strip. What's your name, and what would you like to talk about? Oh, caller. All right. They might be having some issues there, so they'll call back, I'm sure.
Top Line Jay joins the show late and asks, how are we feeling? Now, how are we feeling at this point? How are we feeling? We're working our way towards the end of this show. We've had a lot of good things going on here, a lot of good conversation. How are we feeling at this moment right now?
You know, for all the consternation and everything that's been going on, I'm so worried for Sunday. This is going to be interesting. All right, here's our caller again. Hey, caller, thanks for holding. You're on the landing strip. What's your name and what would you like to talk about? Oh, we lost them as well. All right. They're having a tough time with that
one. Let's go. Jacob says it's been an absolute trauma dump. And hey, sometimes we need to get together and have a little trauma dump and get it out there as we try and bounce back for Sunday. How are you feeling though, Mikey? Because the call kept coming through. How are you feeling? Where are we at right now? How do you feel Sunday's going to go?
Honestly, I still think the Jets probably take the game Sunday in a deceptively close contest in terms of the score. They've been real good at home. They've been able to find ways to neutralize St. Louis's game when they've been in the building. So I'm still thinking the Jets probably squeak out that win. I'm just having a tough time being confident for the future. You know, I was real excited and real confident going into these playoffs that the Jets were going to be able to handle it. You know, it felt like a different team. It didn't feel like those ghosts of the past were hitting us as hard, but right now they're popping up. They're coming through the window. They're not letting us sleep. So I'm worried. But I still think they pull out the win on Sunday and get to go through to round 2. I'm just worried about what round 2 is going to look like.
I smell great says my bracket has the Jets winning the cup every year they make the playoffs. I am forever the optimist to my own demise. Jets roll the Blues in a game 7, 8-1.
Let's go.
Tyler Branch out in St. Louis says it's going to OT. Really wants us to not make it to our show with a heart attack with an OT thriller in game 7. Though what a story that would be to come talk about. Ben Howard asks, how can you think the Jets will win when Helly is letting in 2 to 3 soft ones each night? I'm going to say, actually, I'm not making any proclamations. It truly is a coin flip for me. This team has destroyed my trust on so many goddamn occasions, but they've also won every game at home. And I'm trying to hold on to that. But I also don't know. It's in the back of my head that the second period we saw tonight could come out at any time. Yep. And it's just like, that's a scary, scary place to be. Knowing that version could just fall out. Like, one thing we talked about, we've talked about at different points this series, the Jets were basically that high floor middle ceiling team for a lot of this. And that floor has fallen through the basement in a period like that. That it looked like St. Louis has made me feel, and I think St. Louis is a good team. We talked about not wanting to play them round one. But I also don't look at St. Louis and feel like they should be making me feel like the Colorado Avalanche did last year.
No.
And they've made me feel like that 3 times now.
Yep. We've made it so much harder on ourselves. That's the issue, right? It's not that I think St. Louis is going to be able to go out and dominate the Jets. It's that I don't know if the Jets are going to have another 6-minute just absolute mental collapse and hand the game over to them, right? This is not so much a St. Louis's. I kind of agree with Top Line Jay. They're mid at best. We're lucky to have St. Louis. It just, the Jets have handed them 3 wins in St. Louis. I think that's more a product of the Jets collapse than it is St. Louis being, that much better.
I honestly think that undersells just how good St. Louis has played at home, honestly. Like, the Jets have collapsed at times, and they collapsed for 6 whole minutes today.
Yep.
But I do think that undersells just how well the Blues are playing. I mean, Nathan Walker gets another goal today as their 4th liner. Robert Thomas at times has stood out. Buchnevich has been a big factor in this series.
Yep.
Braden Shen physically has been a factor. And that top pair with Fowler and Parayko has been the best pair in this series. So, I think part of it is the Jets getting away from their game plan, but it's also Jim Montgomery being able to adjust at home. And he's a great coach that had a team that was in the bottom 3 in the NHL at goals at Christmas, now able to score at a top 10 level. I don't want to undersell the Blues at that level, but I feel like if the Winnipeg Jets are playing their A game, they should come out ahead of this Blues team this year. But we're down to a coin flip. One play can make a difference. I just watched a hockey game last night that could have eliminated Colorado, that saw 3 Dallas Stars touch a puck that ended up going in the back of their net in a game winner. That's the kind of shit. Hockey is such a bizarre sport in a singular game. I think this is a true coin flip. That's how I feel leaving it. I don't know what to expect. I don't know how I'm going to handle it. I don't know what this show looks like on Sunday. But I think we're entering a coin flip. And I hope the version that we've seen do it so many times this year does it one more time.
Yes,
That's
sir.
where I'm at. I don't know how to feel right now.
So you said with Hellebuck, you were thinking a short leash, right, for the game on Sunday? What if you get another game or a start like this where it's a goal off of the first shot, but you can make the reasonable argument that, it was, put X, Y, or Z of, not Hellebuck's fault. How short is that leash for you? Is it that first goal on that
One
first
softy.
shot?
No, it wasn't today's first goal. I mean,
yeah.
I think that's.
But I think some
asking a
people
lot
are
him to
looking
do
for
it.
that, right? Though, so I wanted to see where you're falling at.
Any soft goal that I believe Connor Hellebuck should have, like that third goal, sneaks by him Sunday.
Right there.
Get to the back. And I want you sitting on the bench watching that Game 7 the rest of the way. None of this bullshit hiding in the room.
I don't know about
me nuts.
that one. Doesn't bug
It
me as
drives
much.
me nuts.
This is what I don't know. The in the room thing doesn't bug me as much. He's always sat back there. That's
it
where they work on
bothers
their
me.
stuff. I don't know.
Hey,
Goalies
hey,
again.
hey.
Goalies are weird. You got to treat them like a skittish dog.
I got a rebuttal to that. He always sits back there. Guess what? He's always showing like this in the playoffs. Time to change it up.
Oh, fair enough. All right. Fair
Time to
enough.
change it up. Be a
That's a
man.
good
Be a
argument
big
for
boy.
it. That's a good argument for it. I like that.
Big boy. But we're going to go to the 3 stars and get out of here for the night. I want to thank you all for being here on this night. That was a fun show. It was nice to be here with all of you after that frustrating game.
To quote our friend
get into the
Snuggle
3 stars.
Farts, he might just be taking a poop back there. So thanks, Snuggle Farts. I needed that laugh. That was good.
That was good. Who are your 3 stars on this night?
All right. 3rd star. Not a lot to choose from in this game, so I tried to dust off as much of the turd as I possibly could. 3rd star, I went with Morgan Barron. Should have had an absolutely stunning, gorgeous goal tonight. Absolutely wonderful. He continues to show that he's got a little bit of a skill to that kind of big frame. I've maybe don't sound as crazy suggesting that Morgan Barron should be playing in that 3rd spot over Vlad Nemestikov, but hey, Tonight he was looking pretty good. So Morgan Barron, number 3. Number 2 star, Cole Perfetti, finally gets his playoff goal. Should have had another one earlier. Absolutely loving the season from Cole Perfetti, as we've talked about all year. He's one of the few guys that in this playoff run in St. Louis has actually, looked angry, looked like he's doing what he can out there. And then number 1 star, come on, no question. This is absolutely easy. This guy has done so much to steal money from the Winnipeg Jets. Number 1 star, Mason Appleton. Give it up for this guy for being so terrible and still getting to play 15 fucking minutes a game, playing above guys like Alex Iafallo. It's a real skill. It's an absolute wonderful skill to be able to fraud your way into that position so well. So Appleton, number 1 star. Give it up for that guy.
I'm going all Blues tonight. Third star in this one for simply passing the low bar of being better than Connor Hellebuyck at the other side of the net. Jordan Binnington, number 3 star, and it pains me to give that guy credit. Second star, I'm going to go Colton Parayko. I've spilled a lot of love on Cam Fowler's playoff series, and I think Colton Parayko has been a steady presence beside him. Thought he really stood out in this one. And then I'm going to go number 1 star. Edmonton Oilers fans are going to miss him in a few years. Philip Broberg was very active. I thought that
we didn't talk about Broberg at all tonight, and he had a great game.
I think Broberg's had his struggles in this series, and the Jets haven't really scored off of them. He's been kind of getting the saves behind him.
Yep.
I thought this was Philip Broberg's best game in this series. He was jumping up into the play well, gets a goal. He also creates that goal that Nino doesn't pick up the guy in the front of the net for whatever fucking reason. He's just standing there, could have read a book beforehand. And the Platinum Star leaving this season is the team of sports psychologists that help Connor Hellebuyck figure this out moving forward. Because at this point, what else can you do? Like, he might have to take a page out of your boy Rogers' book.
That's right. We got to strip the ego down.
Got to strip the ego down with a little ayahuasca getaway this summer for Connor Hellebuyck at this point.
I can trip sit for him. We can get this done.
T. Will brought up a comment earlier, and I'm going to go out with this, but he was talking about, prove me wrong, that Connor Hellebuyck's a system goaltender. I still think it's a dumb argument because we've seen Connor Hellebuyck so consistently before this system was even in place be the Jets' best player, the MVP. I think it's insane to put that title on him. But you know what today reminded me of, and it was kind of painful. I used to be a big NFL fan. I don't watch football much anymore. I was a Tom Brady guy, and his last season was hard to watch. Like, you knew he was done.
Yeah,
he made it interesting at times, but you knew it was done. And that was my GOAT. That's my guy. And watching that last season was tough to watch. I'm watching my Winnipeg Jets GOAT collapse on a national stage again in the playoffs in his prime, and I don't know how to feel about it. I went on a limb saying it was a Connor Hellebuyck night because that's how much I believe in the guy. And at some point, the talent's got to come through. Gambler's fallacy. And then that happens again, and I'm having trouble comprehending it. I really am.
Yep.
So, thank you all for being here. We'll see you on Sunday for better or for worse. Let's see what Game 7 brings. The 2 best words in pro sports. Game 7. We get to experience one here. Time to ride that roller coaster one more time. Time to get on that coaster one more time.
Right on. Good night, everybody.